and gentlemen, this is Mr. Ukazu live from New York City. As you guys know, I am your number one human capacity coach, alright? So my job here is to make sure I encourage each and every one of you to live a life of fulfillment, alright? I help people to discover themselves, and I also help people to unleash their potentials, alright? So today, I have a great topic titled, You Can't Rush God, right? You can't rush God. And I know this topic will be of interest to somebody elsewhere. Please, if you have a friend or a family members, please do that person a favor by sharing this video with them, right? I'm going to begin by sharing with you guys. As you guys know, today is Easter Sunday, right? And this is the day Christ raised from the dead, right? He died on Good Friday, and in 3 days time he rose from the dead, right? So that is why I want to share with you guys this topic, because I think it's very, very important. You know, sometimes in life we are always struggling. I want to get a child, I want to pass an exam, I want to get a job, I want to meet XYZ. I get all those narratives, but the point there is that you can never rush God. You can't. In fact, you can't even rush success, because success, let me use the word, genuine success takes time. It's a process. You can't rush it. I remember one time here in the US, I was struggling for a long period of time. I mean, I've met some governors in Nigeria, in America, and world leaders, but I had no job. Like, I had no decent job. I was trying. One day, my boss told me, or my mentor told me, Henry, no matter how fast you run, you can never rush God. I sat down to think about that word, and that was deep, because everything has its own time. All right. So what am I trying to say to you guys today is that everything is a process. God knows you more than you know yourself. I'm not trying to be religious. No, I'm trying to be pragmatic. I'm trying to be practical. Everything will fall into place when it's time. I strongly believe that you will receive what you deserve when you have received the capacity to actualize it. So for instance, if you want to meet a billionaire or a governor, a minister, or an influential man, or even one of your idol, you have something you want to share with them. Maybe you're an artist or whatever it is, you have a book you want to share with your mentor or whatever, and you now have the opportunity of meeting this person. What will you do? What will you do? So it is better for you to prepare. Genuine success entails preparation. All right, so let me just share with you guys what I'm trying to share with you guys today, and it's going to be very brief. All right, so as you guys know, I began by telling you that Christ died on Good Friday, and on Easter Sunday he rose from the dead. What does that entail? For those of you who strongly believe in God, right, if you're a Christian, you will know that Christ himself knows us. He sees our hearts, and he knows what we can do, right, because he sees our hearts. So as you guys know, in the Bible, right, there are so many plots to kill Christ or to capture him, but each time they try to capture him, he either disappears or he does, foil the plan. But guess what? At the appointed time, it happened, and he knows that this is the appointed time. And even his disciples told him, says, look, never what I will it, but what thou willest. What does that tell you? That tells you that there's a time for everything. And even the book of life made us understand that there's a time to weep, a time to cry, a time to sow, and a time to reap. That is life. As a student, you must read for you to pass your exam, right? As a married man, as a married woman, you have to get married legally, and then you procreate to get children. Everything is a process. And when a child comes into life, that child will cry, that child will crawl, that child will walk, that child will run. It's a process. That child will go to school, child will raise up, get a decent job, and get married, and start raising his or her own life. That is life itself. So every single thing has its own time. For those of you who are watching me right now on Instagram and on Facebook, what is the moral idea? The moral idea is that you decided that you want to come here today to watch me or to hear me out. It's a time. That is the appointed time for you to do whatever you are doing. If you feel this is not good for you, you will leave. So the point there is that there's a time for everything. I strongly believe that time and chance happens to everyone. True or false? Time and chance happen to everyone. Every single soul in life will surely get an opportunity in life. No matter where you have been, if you like being in the trenches, you will surely get an opportunity in life. That is something I strongly believe, that every single soul will get an opportunity. As a Nigerian, right, we have a saying that whenever you take something that is belonging to a child and you raise it up, right, it will get to a stage that your hand will begin to be weakened, and then you will bring it down. What does that entail, right? No matter whatever you pay through in life, every single soul must surely get an opportunity. For those of you who like soccer, right, you will discover that at any point in time, each team will have an opportunity to score a goal, but they might miss out, right? So that tells you that time and chance happens to everyone. But the question now becomes, how do you manage your time? How do you manage your opportunity? Because opportunity only means prepared people. If you're not prepared and you get an opportunity, trust me, you're going to lose out. So always be prepared. For me, I try to prepare ahead of time. I try, but most times I don't get it. But I do try. So whenever I see an opportunity, I try to utilize it. So it's always good for you to prepare for an opportunity. It is not a fire brigade approach, but no, you have to be practical. And how does that really play out? For instance, okay, as a lady, you might be looking for a child. What does that entail to you? That you must wait on the appointed time, because the appointed time is the right time that you will get your blessings. As a student, you might be reading, hoping that you will pass your exam. You might be reading and keep failing. Trust me, at the appointed time, everything will work out very well. As someone looking for a job, you might be applying for several jobs. Trust me, it can be hard, it can be frustrating, but at the appointed time, trust me, it will go as planned. Now, here is the mystery of life here, okay? Sometimes you might have everything you want to do, right? You might have everything, planned it all, but guess what? It will not work out. And you'll be wondering, why am I failing? Why am I failing? The issue there is that it's either you are not matured enough to manage the success, or you're not even strong enough spiritually to manage any challenge that will come to it, or maybe it's an experience that you need to learn. Every case is literally different. But the message I want to tell you today is that there's a time for everything. Just do your best and leave the rest. The universe has a way of aligning with you. I always use myself as a practical example. Sometimes when I do a work or I try to be somebody, I try to invest in that friendship. Guess what? In the next couple of years, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, right, that opportunity I invested will come to reality. So I just don't plan for now. I always plan for the future. Alright? So if you're doing a work and you're not getting the dividend or the results, just be strong. Know that the timing has not yet arrived. This is how I live my life on a daily life. I always pray to God, God, please let your will be done in my life. So for example now, you might be looking for a job, a high paying job. But the question you have to ask yourself is this what God wants from me? You might make money and then you now lose your purpose in life. So of what value is this? How about you now say, God, I want to work on your purpose. So even though I need this job, God, if it's not your will, let that job not come to reality, because you don't know who you might meet in that job. You don't know what will happen in the course of you doing that job. Maybe you might be traveling, you have an accident, you might meet somebody during the course of that job, and then he or she will not invite you for a party or an event, and you don't know what can happen. You can even lose your life. Anything can happen. But all because you were doing a job you were not destined to do. So I always ask God, God, please, what is your will for my life? Another mystery of life I want to share with you is that sometimes again, you might not do all this work. You might do very little things, right? And God will now bless that work. What if I meant to had a saying yesterday? He said, networking is good, but always remember, God's favor is the best. So you might network with every human being, but you need the sprinkling of favor. You need the God factor in your life. It happens. So sometimes people might not even do 1/10 of what you're doing, and then you imagine, oh, why is this person succeeding? But I have a good news for you. Do you see the clock? The clock works in a very mysterious manner. Every single soul has a time factor. So today, somebody's clock has ticked. Tomorrow it could be your turn. Next tomorrow it could be somebody else. So every single soul have a reason to celebrate. You just have to appreciate the success with good attitude that my time has not yet arrived. Do you know that when you rush your destiny or when you try to rush success, you might miss some opportunities? For example, there are people that can help you in 10 years time, 20 years time, 5 years time, 2 months time. But because you are trying to rush or beat the gun, you might not miss that networking opportunity. You might even not miss that learning opportunity or even experience that you might need later in life. So do not rush the process. Trust the process. Because when you trust the process, at the end of the day, everything will align. Why do I say this? God knows every single soul on earth. He knows our heart desire. He knows our plans. God knows you more than you know yourself, because He was the one that made you. So since He knows you, He knows what is good for you. That is why it's always good for you to align yourself according to His purpose or His destiny in your life. It is very, very critical we know these things. Let us try and work according to God's plan, because whatsoever has happened to you, there's a significance or a symbolic nature of God's hand in it. A couple of days ago, I was listening to one of my friends, and he says divorce is good, divorce is not bad. Anyhow I look at it, he said again that marriage is one of the best things, if not the best thing that can happen to any human being. But just don't think that the end of marriage is the end of life. No. Sometimes once you lose your marriage, it could be a door opener for you. So this guy was saying that just when he divorced with his wife, he now discovered that God has a better plan for him, that the woman he was with was not destined to be him. For him, and the lady and the woman he married was not destined to be his wife. And I believe the woman will say a similar thing. Right? So I'm not trying to say that divorce is good or divorce is bad. But the point I want to share with you is that whatsoever is happening to you, there's a hand of God in it. But you also have to do your best to make sure that there's an alignment. Why do I say this? For marriage to work, the two parties have to be intentional and deliberate. It's not one-sided issue. No, the two parties have to come in to make it work. And whereby they can't make it work, then they now do what is of their own best interest. But that is an issue for a different day. I'm not here to talk about marriage or counseling. No, I'm here to talk about you cannot rush God. Right? Because God knows everything that happens to us. Right? So I want to share with you guys a very important thing I want you guys to know today. Right? And I think it's very, very critical we always pay attention to it. Why do I say this? You know, most times we always pray to God to send us our destiny helpers. God bless the work of our hands. These are all true words. But this is the interesting part of it, is that I personally, I always say daily prayer. And what's that daily prayer I pray every day? I say, God, bless my destiny helpers. I say, God, make my destiny helpers make them restless until they have done the work which you have designed and destined them to do. It's very, very critical. You have to pray, because sometimes somebody who has your power or who has your blessings, you don't even know. You're right? So you have to pray for them so that God will touch your heart so that they can do that job very, very well. Pray for them. It's like your enemy or someone who's owing you. Pray to God to give them money so that they can pay you your debt. Alright? So they can pay you. That is how it works. Always pray for your destiny helpers. Alright? It's very, very critical. Because without that, trust me, it might be hard. Alright? So one last thing I want to share with you guys is this. You will get what you want when you have developed the capacity to receive it. So for example, you might be looking for an opportunity, alright, but then you have not developed the right skills, the right training or experience or knowledge to equip you for it. It's like applying for a job. Before you apply for a job, you must do the necessary training, get experience, and then do what is needed. For me coming out here today to speak to you guys, I have done my research. That is why I'm speaking to you guys. I can't just come here and start speaking. I will make a fool of myself. Alright, so you will get what you want when you have developed the capacity to receive it. So those one thing that God will give you heaven and earth. No. Even though God wants to help you, God also needs you to help yourself. Just like we have been told that God can save you without needing your help. And also God needs you to help you to save you. Do you get that? Just like God can help you without your own help, God also needs your assistance to help you. So you can't just say, oh, because I'm talented, I'm a good singer, I'm a good soccer player, I'm a good public speaker, I'm intelligent, I don't have to read, I don't have to practice. No, you still have to do the job that's required. Alright, I hope you get that. So my very good friends, I'm going to leave you with just one single word, and that word is, there are certain things you cannot control in life. Alright, there are certain things you cannot control. So even as you look up to God to help you, I want you to understand that there are things you cannot control. So for example, if you want to apply for a job, right, you have no control if they will hire you or not. You have no control, right? You have no control if they will hire you or not. So it depends on the employers or the committee to select if they will hire you or not. In labor law, we are told that you cannot force a willingly employee to an unwilling employer. So no matter how good you are, it is the employer that will decide if they will employ you or not. That's what it is. Your father is not the owner of the company, right? So it's the employer that will decide if they will employ you or not. So my very good friends, I thought it nice to share with you guys this powerful nugget that you can never rush God. You can never rush God. So I look forward to seeing you guys next week. And please do me a favor, share this video to your friends on Instagram, on Facebook, or LinkedIn, or YouTube, or even on Twitter. Okay, share it with them, and I believe at the end of the day they will all enjoy it. Alright, so I look forward to seeing you guys next week. For now, this is bye from Ukazu. Take care and have a blissful Easter holiday. Bye.